thanks for tuning in to another week of the Monday Night Sports Show. I'm Rachel Hallam.
And I'm Ethan Bird. A bittersweet game this past Saturday when the CSU Men's Basketball team hosted the Air Force Falcons for their senior day in Moby Arena.
The Rams were recognizing three seniors, Nico Carvacho, Hiron Edwards Jr., and Chris Martin. With their last game in Moby, there were fun bets going on against Nico Carvacho and if he would cry or not. And huge cheers from fans for the seniors' last game in Moby Arena. The celebration started before the game, but didn't stop there. Obviously, we have to talk about Nico Carvacho first with these highlights. Big man under the basket is going to get a great slam dunk here to start off that offensive threat from the Rams.
And we're going to follow this one up with Isaiah Martin at the baseline. He says, Chris Martin, Chris, give me the Martin special splash three. He had 6 points on senior day.
Adam Thistlewood didn't have a great showing against San Diego State, but he proved himself worthy against this team in Moby Arena with a nice slam dunk to get.
And Air Force's top scorer, Lavelle Scotty, shaking and baking, contested layup over Nico Carvacho. He had 20 on the day.
And here we have Adam Thistlewood again. Gets a nice three on the outside, drains it, and Moby Arena was just getting wild.
And AJ Walker seeking ISO. Adam, what you could do, I can do better. He's sizing up Nico. He's going to step back and splash that three. He had 15 points.
It's not going to matter, though, because we're going to have Kendall Moore with a nice three on the outside as well. And he's going to have 21 points on the night. All three threes from that game.
And Adam is just going to put an exclamation point on at the end of the game. The Rams would leave Moby that afternoon with their 20th win of the season, beating the Air Force Falcons for the second time this season, 87-74.
Now that the season has wrapped up in Moby, it is all eyes on the Mountain West Tournament. And Coach Medved has been informing his players about why the 6th seed isn't so bad after all.
I think Coach said the last time we won the conference tournament, we was a 6th seed. Maybe get the jitters out of the conference tournament, get that first game in, get out of the way, and continue just to stay hot and then finish it out.
Well, it's exciting to see. I think that it's going to be a great competition for the Rams here. Obviously, he talks about how the last time they won, or they had the 6th seed, they did win the Mountain West Championship. So it's really exciting to see where they're going into this tournament.
Well, coming in at the 6th seed, they get a chance to create some momentum against the 11th seed. But what you really have to look up for is Nevada. They're on a bye, and they'd catch Nevada when they beat Wyoming, and then Utah State is most likely in that path, and then the championship game. But the Rams, they've shown all season that they can hang.
Absolutely, especially in that last game against San Diego State, only losing by 6 points. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a really competitive competition. It's going to be a great tournament.
Absolutely. Staying on the hardwood, but looking at CSU women's basketball team, Annie Brady became the 7th Ram to ever be named the Mountain West All-Defensive Team. Brady's defensive mind led the Rams in the first round of the Women's Mountain West Tournament.
We're going to start with Williams here. Drives it to the basket. The Rams would only have 8 points in the first quarter.
Andrea Brady, she spins down at the baseline, making room, sends it up, banks open, count it. She had 17 points.
Rams offense was not going to make a difference against this Air Force defense as Winters gets a nice steal and they just turn it over with a nice little layup from Conroe.
And Brianna Autry is going to storm into the paint and find room for Riley Snyder. That one rattles in. She had 10 points.
Rams couldn't do anything, but they fought to the very last second, including Davis here, who gets a nice little 2, but again, it's not enough.
And that Air Force defense is just what ended this game. Emily Conroe layup, and that's going to be the dagger for the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams would finish their season and get the boot from the Thomas and Mack Center with the final score of 60-48.
And after the game, Coach Ryan Williams knew how badly those mistakes it made in the first quarter affected the game.
Yeah, just didn't play well. Air Force really came out in that first quarter and had a big quarter. I think 4 3-pointers in that first quarter really kind of set the tone. Positive for them, not so positive for us, and just could really never get anything going. So for whatever reason, one of those nights, but obviously needed to play better. Not a good time to not play well.
CTV reporters Jason Ortiz and Jessica Mendoza are at the Mountain West Tournament in Las Vegas.
Jessica and Jason, break down what really affected this CSU team.
That's right. We're here at the Thomas and Mack Center where on Sunday CSU was topped off by the Air Force Falcons 60-48. Jess, break down what happened in that game.
Yeah, Jason, so it really came down to two things. I mean, turnovers, something that we're not used to seeing CSU do a lot of, but there was a lot of really silly turnovers. And then, of course, rebounds. I mean, they were out-rebounded by Air Force by double digits. And Air Force had 18 second chance points and 18 offensive rebounds. So clearly it's going to be hard for CSU to win a game like that when Air Force is just getting chance after chance to keep shooting the ball. Also, CSU shot awfully in the first quarter. I mean, only 21%. They did come out in the second half shooting 50%, but it was just those little mistakes that really hurt them in the end. Now Air Force is going to move on, and they get to play Boise State, and there's plenty of games going on for the rest of the next few days. What are you expecting to see this tournament end up like?
So yeah, you got to think Air Force is going to be probably a dark horse going forward. They're not a very good three-point shooting team. They're going up against a very good team in Boise State. I don't see them reproducing what they did against CSU against Boise State, which means Boise State's going to move on. But there's the top dog, and I say that literally because that's the Fresno State Bulldogs. They have Mountain West Player of the Year, Matty Udy, and then they also have Freshman of the Year, Haley Cavender, and then there's another Cavender twin, Hannah, who is also probably, if Haley wasn't on her team, would have won Freshman of the Year. So I don't think anybody in this team, in this conference, has really a good shot to beat Fresno, but you can, I guess, maybe take a chance on Boise.
Well, Fresno State's definitely stacked, but I mean, it is a Mountain West tournament. You never know what could happen. I mean, some crazy things have happened in the past, so I'm definitely thinking that Boise State or Wyoming might have a chance here, but we'll definitely have to see. We'll keep you guys updated. Back to you all.
Well, thank you, Jess and Jason. And just because CSU's out of it does not mean that the tournament is over. And I'm gonna take a quick pick on who I think is gonna win. Jason said it. You cannot count out the Fresno State Bulldogs, despite struggling against Nevada yesterday. There's no stopping that team, especially the Cavender sisters. They combined for 42 points in that win. That team is just so lethal that they could steamroll this tournament.
Absolutely, but I think the team we got to have a little bit of an eye out for is going to be Utah State after their big win over San Diego State in the first round. I think they're going to be a little bit more competitive. I mean, I know they were the last in the Mountain West Conference going into this tournament, but look out for them. I mean, they had a good upset against San Diego State, so we'll see.
That can spark a run.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Rams, we are going to take a quick break, but later in the show, we will bring you updates on the CSU track and field team, as well as the CSU softball team.
But next is Hunter's Hotspot. Hunter, with so many games going on this week, what is your Hotspot game of the week?
Well, let's just say that March Madness has already started to begin, so I have to stick with hoops. Find out which player for the first round of the Mountain West basketball tournament is the Hotspot player of the week next.
Baby, you see, you're so right for me, and I am right for you. I love the things you do, like sweet tasting wine. Your lips are so divine. Your loving turns me on. My lonely days are gone. That's why I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go. Baby, never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.
Well, it is officially March, so you all know what that means. It's time for the madness. I'm Hunter Fillmore. For this week's Hotspot Game of the Week, we travel to Las Vegas for the Mountain West Tournament. Looking at the tournament, it all kicks off on Wednesday with the first round of games. Fresno State will be taking on Air Force first. Next, New Mexico takes on San Jose State. And the last game of the day is the Border War rematch between Colorado State and Wyoming, which is the Hotspot Game of the Week. The Cowboys and Rams have met twice this year, and both times the Rams came out with the win. In the first game, it was all Rams. They outscored the Cowboys 32-19 in the first half and eventually got the victory 72-61. In that game, it was freshman David Roddy who led the team with 19 points and 13 rebounds. Jumping over to that second meeting between the Rams and the Cowboys, we would see another victory by the Rams, but this time only by 7 points. The Cowboys outscored the Rams in the first half 37-29, but the Rams came charging back in the second to secure the win. After CSU's last game, head coach Nico Medved is positive thinking into the tournament.
I think that we should feel good about ourselves and feel confident going into the Mountain West tournament, and I hope so. I know I certainly do, that those guys believe not only can we play with, but we can beat.
The leading scorer in this game was also a freshman, but this time it was Isaiah Stevens. And it just so happens that Stevens is your hotspot player of the week. Stevens is the leading scorer for the Rams this season and has over 400 points. He's averaging 13 points per game with a 3-point percentage of just under 40%. Stevens has no fear when shooting the ball and can be a threat from anywhere on the court. Not to mention, if it comes down to that final shot, this is the player that you want with the ball in his hands. Stevens has hit 2 buzzer beaters this season already, and with the madness of March that we all know, he might have to perform another. All the action begins Wednesday. Jessica Mendoza and Jason Ortiz will have all the updates from the tournament on YouTube at CTV 11. Ethan and Rachel, what's coming up next?
Well, the CSU softball team started their weekend off strong, but it all went downhill from there. I'll recap that next.
Plus, one CSU coach won a Mountain West award. I'll let you know who when we come back.
Awkward. Do I look familiar? I should. You might remember me from here. Here. Or maybe even here.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
It can actually be a perfect moment to reach out to a friend and ask if they're okay if they seem down.
It doesn't matter how you say it.
You all right?
Everything's okay?
All G?
You all right, girl?
Oh,
you cool?
You bugging dog.
Just show you're there for them.
Go on, Kelly. CZ awkward.
Hey, you haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
More exciting news for the CSU's track and field team. For the third time in just 4 years, CSU has become the Mountain West men's indoor track and field champions. Not only did the team leave hoisting a trophy over their heads, but head coach Brian Bedard was also named the Mountain West men's track and field head coach of the year, his third in 4 years as well. Coach Bedard expresses what he thought about his team's performance and what another championship means to the program he's worked so hard to build.
It just kind of affirms or reaffirms what we're trying to do and trying to have a whole team and try to score in every event if we can. And our recruiting philosophy, try to recruit people with good character that want to work hard and buy into what we're doing. And we teach the process up there and how to compete. So it just reaffirms what we're trying to do.
Now, even though it wasn't the same outcome for the women in the championships, both Taryn Siege and Lauren Gale would leave taking first place in shot put and 400 meter respectively. Taryn Siege also will be taking her talents to the NCAA championships the second week of March, and the women would leave still reaching the podium for the 15th time since the Mountain West started in 2000.
And a cloud was cast in sunny California over the CSU softball team's games this past weekend. The Rams traveled to Fullerton, California for the Judy Garman Classic. The Rams started the weekend on the right foot, winning their first game against Grand Canyon University 6-2. But for what ended up being their last game of the tournament, the Rams were looking for an upset against number 13, Michigan. Now, in the bottom of the 7th game on the line, Madison Uden is up to bat, and she's going to slam that one out of the park. She's going to round those bases quite triumphantly, her 13th career home run for the Wolverines, and that would win the game over the Rams, 1-0. The Rams also dropped to Illinois in number 4 ranked LSU. The Rams will return to Fort Collins on Friday to kick off the Colorado State Classic.
Well, Rams, don't go anywhere just yet because later in the show we will be back with another week of Down in the DMs.
We will be answering your questions. Stick around to see, but first, Ellison Hubbard is back with another week of Hubbard's Huddle. Ellison.
That's right, guys. This week is a little bit different, though. Who had the best Mountain West football schedule release? I'll let you know my top 5 after the break.
I got a creak in my neck, limp in my step, cramping in my muscles every time I try to flex. But I don't know why I'm scared of. Inside no more love, all that I can do was remember you. You know I usually say no, but if you throw me love, I'll throw it some more.
Five, four, three, two, one.
Welcome back, Rams. This week is a special edition of Hubbard's Huddle. I'm Ellison Hubbard, and tonight I have the top football schedules of the Mountain West and one cute play. Yes, I said one cute play you must see. Let's start the break with number 5. Here we have Wyoming's football schedule. Wyoming, the rivals of the Rams, rivals of many people, but you know, the Mountain West has started to change things up using videos. For example, here, this video is, in my opinion, a little bland, just using their stadium and what they have to offer along with other stadiums as a background for who they're playing. Yes, that's a little different than what most schedules are, but it's just not appealing to the eye. I don't know if they're trying to win the contest here because that's not going to win the contest. At least it's better than most schedules that came out with just helmets or just with the picture in the background. It's a video, so I like it, and it made my number 5. So Wyoming here in their schedule, I think CSU will be their hard team to face in the conference because that is the border war, and the Rams have vengeance for the last 2-3 years that they have lost. And they have to face Utah. I don't know if that's going to be a good matchup right there, but you're going to Utah. That is a Pac-12 team. That is going to be a tough one for the Cowboys right there. But we're going into number 4. We have Utah State and their football schedule. Right here, they're using the mountains in Utah. I like this. It's a little different, out-of-the-box thinking right here. They're showing the date on the side and where they're traveling to or from to that team. So right here, it's just beautiful scenery. They're going to BYU, they're coming home, and they're playing San Diego State. You know, they're showing everybody what they have to offer at Utah, and that's pretty cool right there. You know, not many people think of doing that, and not many people think about putting signs of the team they face. I don't know, that's good graphic right there. Very creative for Utah State, but can they win the games? Yes, they have a beautiful looking schedule, but can they win? That's all that matters in that moment. Their hardest game will be, I think, CSU, because CSU has been winning or losing, matter of fact, against Utah State. And they have vengeance, just like they did against Wyoming, against Utah State. And Utah State goes to play Washington. Matter of fact, they play Washington and Washington State. So that's going to be a tough one to go back-to-back in Washington. Going on to number 3, we have Fresno State. I like this. I don't know if you can hear the music in the background, but they play sound effects with who they play. You know, they have CU. That's surprising to me because usually CSU plays CU every year, but CU plays them. They play Colorado State at Colorado State. I like how they just put a nice little graphic there, the state or the stadium, and just showing you what that stadium or what that school has. So I like that right there for the Fresno State Bulldogs. That made it number 3. That's even cool right there with October 31st to Halloween. You know, everybody's using the Vegas sign, so that's cool. But just to show all of the stadiums or the area around who they're playing is pretty cool. Now, who they face, Texas A&M, that's going to be a hard one out of state. you're going to have to really game plan against them. That's the new coaching staff they have. Can they win against Texas A&M? That is huge. Jimbo Fisher definitely isn't going to lose to a Mountain West team. And they play Air Force. So I think Air Force might be a tough one because Air Force every year has the option, and the option, who can stop it? Now there's teams out there that can game plan like Navy, but that's just going to be a tough team to face. We're going to number 2. Number 2 is Air Force, right? Air Force, look at this schedule right here. When I first watched it, I was like, this is out of the box thinking right here. Very creative, very, very different for Air Force. You're in the Air Force. You go to fly and fight, but they're out here thinking very different. Harry Potter, you see, they got that here. I find this very funny. The Bulldog right here is right here. This is funny. She's like, come here, baby. You're mad at me. The Bulldog doesn't want to. Bulldog has nothing to do with it. The Bulldog's mad, upset. This one was funny when it came to Navy. He was scared about the ship crashing. It's funny. Air Force, you don't think of them as funny. You think of them as serious, I got to win type team. So their tough team is going to be CSU. That's a game every year they have to face at home or away. It's for the Ram Falcon Trophy. Can they win this year? They've been good so far, but can they beat CSU and the Rams? And then they go to face Navy. Navy is always a tough team for them. Can they win that? We'll see. At number 1, we have our very own CSU Rams at the number 1 schedule for the Mountain West. They're using beer here to appeal to students, fans that love beer. Colorado, they really like beer out here. So, and then I like they put the label on there of the team. It's kind of funny how they design the labels. This is UNC, Farmer Bear. It's a lot different down in Greeley, Colorado. Vandy, I just like the way that they took time to put a label and put it on there, on a bottle, and just have people either open a fridge. It's a little different. At the time, they were practicing, so they were like, we're going to film this while they out there practicing. So the number 1 team they're going to face and beat is Air Force this year. Can they beat and win the Ram Falcon Trophy? And, of course, Wyoming is also a tough team for the Board Award. And instead of an epic fail of the week, I found a play that deserves all the attention in the world. This is the cute play of the week. We have Percy the dog, that's his name, and they're in Oracle Arena, the Warriors game. This is halftime. He's on his hind legs just trying to get the dunk in. Oh, he falls down, but wait, he gets back up, and he's going to finish this dunk off with a little bit of tenacity. Little man finishing it off. I like it. But Rams, that ends this Hubbard's Huddle of the week. Don't go anywhere because Rachel, Ethan, Hunter, and I sit down to answer your questions for this week's Down in the DMs coming up next.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up 1 finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
It go down in the DM. It go down, it go down. It goes down in the DM. It go down, it go down in the DM. It go down, tell it.
Welcome back from the break, Rams, and our first question for Down in the DMs comes from Carrick at CarrickTZ, and they ask us, does Tony Romo deserve $17? You heard that right. $17 million a year for calling games. Jury's out. Let's hear it, Hunter.
I think that Tony Romo deserves to be the highest paid commentator ever because he is the best at what he does. And if you are the best at what you do, you get paid the most. So Tony Romo, yes, he deserves it.
I mean, he deserves that money, but I don't think he's worth $17 million.
Stephen A is that good. He doesn't get $17 million, so.
Tony Romo's out there predicting.
It's because he played the game for so long. I mean, he's entertaining, but he's not the best. The best in the game is Al Michaels. Sunday Night Football. I mean, his voice, smooth silk. And he's just 50 years calling NFL football, and he's only making $5 million a year.
He's a natural.
He's a natural. He was born to do it. I mean, he was made to. He was literally made to do it. And he's only making $5 million a year. I don't think anybody should be making that much money. That's a lot of money. But yeah, Tony Romo, 17 mil.
Okay, so I think Tony Romo doesn't need $17 million just because he's standing up there commentating, and they don't even give Dak Prescott $17 million. So until you can get to giving these quarterbacks or these players the money they deserve, why give Tony Romo $17 million to
He's the best at what he does.
But how long has Dak Prescott been in the league for?
It doesn't matter.
How long did Tony Romo play for?
What he done?
Seasons.
What he has done for the Cowboys?
He knows this game by like the back of his hand. He knows this game inside and out. So, if you listen to him, his commentating, he predicts everything.
Said, Stephen A is a clown, and he gets a lot of people to watch ESPN. Why can't he get $17 million?
Exactly.
Okay.
I think, we're split.
I think we can agree to disagree on this one.
Okay. I like it.
I think we all think that he deserves the money, but maybe not that much. But we're there. All right. For our second question, this one comes from @KatieCat787, and she asks, "How deep of a run will the CSU men's basketball team make in the Mountain West tournament?" Ellison, why don't you start us off with this one?
Okay. Looking at the schedule right here, they got to start off with Wyoming. I know Wyoming is probably upset with losing to the Rams, so they're going to come out here and give everything they got. But I think the Rams are good enough to go, if they can beat Nevada, they're going to make it to the semifinals, and that's probably it. I don't see the Rams playing good enough to go to the championship and win it all. So
it's tough without a bye.
Yeah.
But like you said, they're going in against Wyoming to start, and I do see that Wyoming's going to want some revenge for that last game. I mean, down 19 at half, and you lose that huge lead. That's going to be a tough battle for them. But I also think that this team is they're different, and the fact that they're losing 3 guys now this year, they're going to lose Carvacho, Edwards, and Martin. I think that this is going to be. They're going to take this one to heart more than anything, and I think that this one's going to be a good one for them.
So how deep are they going?
I'm really excited, and I'm kind of hoping that they can play San Diego State again, and I think that would be fantastic. I think it's going to be a little tough, like you said, going against Nevada after Wyoming. It's going to be really hard, but I'm hoping they can get to play San Diego State at least.
Okay, so you're thinking the finals. Well, assuming San Diego State makes it to the finals. As much as I want to see that rematch, I'm going to have to go with a semifinal boot for the Rams. But it's March. It's March, and things happen in sports. These things happen. Exactly. But they say they beat Wyoming, and then they beat Nevada. I mean, they're 1-1 against Nevada on the air, and then they meet Utah State with Ram killer Sam Merrill. His only 2 30-point games in his career are against CSU. So I think that's where they get the boot.
Yeah, I think they're going to go out earlier. I think they just end it with Nevada. I don't think they're going to make it past that. Like you say, they're 1-1, and I don't think it's going to be much further for them, unfortunately.
Alrighty. Well, Rams, that is all we have for this week. Thank you for sending in questions for Down in the DMs, and be sure to keep DMing us, and we just might pick your question to be on air.
To keep updated with more sports throughout the week, be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram @sports_CTV. I'm Ellison Hubbard.
I'm Ethan Bird.
I'm Rachel Hallam.
And I'm Hunter Fillmore. Tune back in tomorrow night for more news from the people you know, and to see Erica Johnson and Brendan Fairbairn talk about the rest of the CSU softball season and what they're expecting to happen.
And don't forget to catch Jessica Mendoza and Jason Ortiz in Las Vegas at the Thomas and Mack Center, bringing you the latest updates on the Mountain West basketball tournament. You don't want to miss it. Until next week, have a great night, Rams.